Here we are with book 22. Now, at the end of book 21, it sounded like, hey, they're going to have some great big feast, and that was wonderful. But, we don't see what happens at the feast. Needless to say, eating, having some drinks, making merry. Odysseus has done a great job of throwing everybody off the track. Nobody has suspected yet that Odysseus is Odysseus. So this has worked out well so far. So let's take a look in book 22 to see how things transpire. Please remember, again, summary sheets should be out. I know at this point in the game, a lot of people forget to update those summary sheets. If you guys did not update your summary sheets on book 21, it is extremely important that you do. Because if I asked you today to tell me what happened in book 9, what adventure was in book 9, the only way you guys are going to remember for sure what happened in book 9 is by using that summary sheet. Okay? So if you guys need to take a moment and pause to make sure summary sheets were updated from book 21, if you did not already do that, please get that done. Okay. Here we go on book 22, Death in the Great Hall. Now, shrugging off his rags, the wiliest fighter of the islands leapt and stood on the broad door-sill, his own bow in his hand. He poured out at his feet a rain of arrows from the quiver and spoke to the crowd. So much for that. Your clean-cut game is over. Now watch me hit a target that no man has hit before. If I can make this shot, help me, Apollo. This shows a big change in Odysseus. He said something in book 21 about Zeus. He can only do these things with the help of the gods. It shows a huge shift. Book 22, now he's asking for Apollo's help. Oh, Apollo, it says God, the supporter and protector of archers. The bow is a sacred weapon. Wow, you're praying to this God? This is a fantastic God to finally be praying to. He drew to his fist the cruel head of an arrow. For Antinous, remember he's the number one ringleader, just as the young man leaned to lift his beautiful drinking cup, embossed, two-handled and golden, the cup was in his fingers. The wine was even at his lips. And did he dream of death? How could he? In that revelry amid his throng of friends, who would imagine a single foe, though a strong foe indeed, could dare to bring death's pain on him and darkness on his eyes? Odysseus's arrow hit him under the chin and punched up to the feathers through his throat. He has shot that arrow, which was told to us in book 20. He shot him through the throat. So watch what happens. What's the reaction in the room now that the number one ringleader, the tough guy, let's see how he does. Backward and down he went, loses all his balance, letting the wine cup fall from his shocked hand like pipes. His nostrils jetted crimson runnels, a river of mortal red, and one last kick upset his table, knocking the bread and meat to soak in dusty blood. Now as they craned to see the champion where he lay, the suitors jostled in uproar down the hall, everyone on his feet. Wildly they turned and scanned the walls in the long room for arms meaning weapons. But not a shield, not a good ashen spear was there for a man to take and throw. All they could do was yell in outrage at Odysseus. So everybody, even though they've been drinking, they're going to notice the upheaval in the room. Because when Antinous goes back, he's going to kick forward. His feet will kick forward, even though he's dying. His feet will kick forward. His chair goes back. Lots of commotion here. If his feet go up, chances are very good it's going to kick the table. I don't know if it would uproot the table, but it's going to make things move. And people are going to notice. People that are seated beside him, they're all going to notice, holy cow, what just happened? So Odysseus is really tipping his hand. I am here. And now it's Odysseus, his son, the two herdsmen, and of course he had that woman on his side, but she doesn't count because she's got all the women locked up. So 4 guys now against 99. Still chances are not so good, except for you took the number 1 guy out, which is phenomenal. Remember, we could have some merchants in there. We could have some men that have a large group of animals. It doesn't mean that they're all warriors. So in a way, that's helpful to Odysseus to take out the number 1 guy. But he's still got number 2, and he's also another ringleader. So they're all upset. And here they go, starting to yell at Odysseus. Foul! To shoot at a man! That was your last shot! Your own throat will be slit for this. Our finest lad is down. You killed the best on Ithaca. But did he? Do they know it's Odysseus yet? No, they have no clue it's him. They just think, oh my God, some wild shot and you killed our number 1 guy? Oh my God! They're all upset, but they still have no clue. And they continue at the top of 957. Buzzards will tear your eyes out. For they imagined, as they wished, that it was a wild shot, an unintended killing. Fools, not to comprehend that they were already in the grip of death. But glaring under his brows, Odysseus answered, You yellow dogs. You thought I'd never make it home from the land of Troy? You took my house to plunder, twisted my maids to serve your beds. You dared bid for my wife while I was still alive? Contempt was all you had for the gods who rule wide heaven. Contempt for what men say of you hereafter. Your last hour has come. You die in blood. Now people have got to really be starting to scratch their heads thinking, who is this guy? And Odysseus, man, he's just saying, hey, those guys in that room have got to be thinking, that's Odysseus? Oh, God. Oh, God. This is when the alarm bell has really rung, because these guys now have decided, or I guess figured it out, that this is really the big O. Oh my God, it's Odysseus. How are we going to go against him, the wiliest of fighters? They know they're in trouble. But we still have number 1 ringleader. Number 1 ringleader has to be smart. He has to try and outsmart Odysseus. But has Odysseus already outsmarted him? You guys have to pay attention. Has he been a smart man so far? Now, we've seen him make a lot of stupid choices throughout all the other books. But has he learned? Was it a smart thing in book 21 to call on Zeus for his approval, for his help? My answer would be yes, because Zeus heard him, answered through the lightning bolt, it will be what you asked for. Now we're in book 22, asked for Apollo's help to make his shot. Baby, he just made the shot. It was successful. Here we are. Nobody still knows who he is until he gives the information to them that, dude, I'm home and you messed up. You picked on the wrong man and the wrong family. Line 273, as they all took this in, sickly green fear pulled at their entrails and their eyes flickered, looking for some hatch or hideaway from death. But remember, all of these doorways, all locked. You guys have partied. You guys didn't worry about where all the weapons were. And I made sure all the weapons were at my disposal, and I made sure you're stuck in the room. You suppose that was smart? Eurymachus, ringleader number 2, alone could speak, and he said, "If you are Odysseus of Ithaca, come back. Now all that you say these men have done is true. Rash actions, many here, more in the countryside, but here he lies, the man who caused them all. Antinous was the ringleader. He whipped us on to do these things. He cared less for a marriage than for the power Cronion had denied him as king of Ithaca. For that he tried to trap your son and would have killed him. He's dead now and has his portion. Spare your own people. As for ourselves, we'll make restitution of wine and meat consumed, and add each one a tithe of 20 oxen with gifts of bronze and gold to warm your heart. Meanwhile, we cannot blame you for your anger." Eurymachus is trying hard to distance himself from Antinous because he sees exactly what happened to Antinous, the number 1 ringleader, the toughest guy in the room, except for Odysseus. The toughest guy in the room is dead. And so now he's got to distance himself from all those practices. This guy up here, this guy, Antinous, he's the one that messed up. He was the one being rude and disrespectful. It wasn't us. Except for he kind of forgets that Odysseus has been there for a while and has seen what they've been doing. Even though he hasn't been there that long, he notices who the leaders are, how they talk to people, what they've been doing, how they encourage other people. And Eurymachus has said, "Oh, dude, he got what was coming to him. You know, we're going to make restitution of wine and meat consumed. We're going to pay for everything we ate and drank. And we're also going to pay on an additional 20 ox. That would be worth a lot of money, or a lot of something to them. And we're also going to give you bronze and gold. We're going to pay off everything that we've done." Only, can you really do that? Can you really? You've been so rude and disrespectful to not only Odysseus, but to his wife and his son. Holy cow, I would not want to be one of those 99. "We can't blame you for your anger." That's his famous last line. Odysseus glowered under his black brows and said, "Not for the whole treasure of your fathers, all you enjoy, lands, flocks, or any gold put up by others, would I hold my hand. There will be killing till the score is paid. You forced yourselves upon this house. Fight your way out or run for it, if you think you'll escape death. I doubt one man of you skins by." If I were sitting in that room as one of the 99, I'd be like panicking, major league. Odysseus just told you, I'm killing every single one of you. I'm killing every single one of you. You guys do not have enough money. You don't have enough of anything to stop my hand from grabbing my sword, grabbing my spear, grabbing whatever weapon it is I use. There is nothing going to stop me from killing all of you. Again, I'd be in panic mode. What do we do? Oh, line 300. They felt their knees fail and their hearts, but heard Eurymachus for the last time rallying them. Because remember, we've seen it with Odysseus. When you have your men, you have to make a choice of, how do I encourage men to fight for their lives? You're either going to encourage or you're going to yell at them, okay? And you got to do what works. And for Eurymachus, he has decided he's going to talk to them. Probably not so nicely. I mean, he's been partying with these guys for like a year. Has he been fighting with them? Maybe horsing around, but not like their life depends on it. So he says to the rest of the guys there, the other 98 men, "Friends," he said, "the man is implacable." Now that he's got his hands on bow and quiver, he'll shoot from the big door stone there until he kills us to the last man. Fight, I say! Let's remember the joy of it. Swords out! Hold up your tables to deflect his arrows. After me, everyone. Rush him where he stands. If we can budge him from the door, if we can pass into the town, we'll call out men to chase him. This fellow with his bow will shoot no more. He drew his own sword as he spoke, a broadsword of fine bronze, honed like a razor on either edge. Then, crying hoarse and loud, he hurled himself at Odysseus. But the kingly man let fly an arrow at that instant, and the quivering feathered butt sprang to the nipple of his breast as the barb stuck in his liver. The bright broadsword clanged down. He lurched and fell aside, pitching across his table. His cup, his bread and meat were spilt and scattered far and wide, and his head slammed on the ground. Revulsion, anguish in his heart, with both feet kicking out, he downed his chair while the shrouding wave of mist closed on his eyes. So did it work out for Eurymachus to encourage everybody, hey, let's go fight him off? Didn't work so well. It was not a bad plan. Hey, if Odysseus is standing at this door and he's got all his weapons right here, if we all rush him at the exact same moment, we could dislodge him from this door. They're not so much worried, or maybe haven't even noticed, that the herdsmen are in there, that Telemachus is in there. That's not necessarily catching right here, okay? And since they haven't caught on to that, they're only looking at Odysseus. You have the number one now. This is technically number two guy, but the number one guy that's still alive, he had encouraged everybody, grab your weapons and let's fight, which kind of sounds like a good plan, only it's a little faulty because we took now number two guy off, and so we have 98 guys. We don't have another incredible leader in their midst, so it's gonna get kind of chaotic here. Where are the real leaders, the real fighters in the room? There's got to be some, but are they going to be the level of opponent that could survive Odysseus? That would, to me, be the big question here. So Odysseus has killed Eurymachus. Can anybody remind me how he killed him? Hopefully somebody has said that he got shot in the heart with an arrow. He has flung himself across his table. Again, everybody's seeing this, and some of those men are going full panic mode at this point. On line 322 on 959, Amphimenus now came running at Odysseus, broadsword naked in his hand. You don't need to write this guy's name down. He thought to make the great soldier give way at the door. That's Odysseus. But with the spear throw from behind, Telemachus hit him between the shoulders, and the lance head drove clear through his chest. He left his feet and fell forward, thudding forehead against the ground. Telemachus swerved around him, leaving the long, dark spear planted in Amphimenus. If he paused to yank it out, someone might jump from behind or cut him down with the sword. At the moment he bent over, so he ran from the tables to his father's side and halted, panting, saying, "Father, let me bring you a shield and spear, a pair of spears, a helmet. I can arm on the run myself. I'll give outfits to Eumaeus and this cowherd. Better to have equipment." And Odysseus said, "Run then, while I hold them off with arrows as long as the arrows last. When all are gone, if I'm alone, they can dislodge me." Quick, upon his father's word, Telemachus ran to the room where spears and armor lay. He caught up 4 light shields, 4 pairs of spears, 4 helms of war high, plumed with flowing manes, and ran back, loaded down to his father's side. He was the first to pull a helmet on and slide his bare arm in a buckler strap. The servants armed themselves, and all 3 took their stand beside the master of battle. While he had arrows, he aimed and shot, and every shot brought down one of his huddling enemies. But when all barbs had flown from the bowman's fist, he leaned on his bow in the bright entryway beside the door and armed a 4-ply shield hard on his shoulder and a crested helm, horse-tailed, nodding stormy upon his head. Then took his tough and bronze-shod spears. In the section you guys cannot read so well, let's read a little bit of this and unpack all of this. The suitors make various unsuccessful attempts to expel Odysseus from his post at the door. Athena, remember she is a goddess, Athena urges Odysseus on to battle, yet holds back her fullest aid, waiting for Odysseus and Telemachus to prove themselves. So let's pause for a moment here and talk about some of the stuff we've read so far. Let me make a little note so I know where to come back to here. When we take a look back at the middle of 959, yep, you had a new leader step forward, Amphiminus. But again, I told you guys not to write his name down because he doesn't last long. He dies rather quickly by Telemachus's hand, which is kind of interesting to note that he stepped forward. He may not be Odysseus, but he is Odysseus' son. And I got to imagine if I were Odysseus in this moment, you know, I got to be proud of my son that he stepped up, that he helped. But maybe it's just the mom in me thinking it. But I look at that and think, oh my God, my son's in the room and I want my son to survive. And so when Telemachus says, hey, Dad, let me run out of the room. Let me go get some shields. So I got to have some armor. Let me go get more spears. Let me go get your helmet. Oh, your helmet. They talk about this helmet even more on page 960. They talk about 4 helms on line 345. 4 helms of war high plumed with flowing manes. So it's these big helmets. And then they'd have some great big feathery stuff hanging off that helmet. It's kind of like, hey, I am the big fancy leader because I got this feathery plume stuff. So, hey, you are the true born leader. And I gotta wonder for Odysseus, you know, maybe it's, again, the mom in me, but I'm thinking, I want to protect my child. I want to protect my child at all costs. And I get curious at that moment. Do you say yes to your son knowing that, wow, I've got to hold off. I've got to hold off all these men because now I'm down to 97. And you're going to go get stuff for the swine herdsman and the cow herdsman and yourself. If they can dislodge me from the door, I'm probably going to die. But you will have survived. And if you make it back, that's great. Because you'll live to see another day and we can fight together. What stories we could tell about this. I'm thrilled to death to see that Telemachus does make it back. They do fight all these guys. And here you have Athena watching over everything. All these men, there's still lots of men. But then it says, again in the section you can't read so well, 6 of the suitors attempt an attack on Odysseus, but Athena deflects their arrows. Now, you're having a goddess step in to protect a human. Odysseus and his men seize this opportunity to launch their own attack, and the suitors begin to fall. At last, Athena's presence becomes known to all as the shape of her shield becomes visible above the hall. The suitors, recognizing the intervention of the gods on Odysseus' behalf, are frantic to escape, but to no avail. Odysseus and his men are compared to falcons who show no mercy to the flocks of birds they pursue and capture. Soon the room is reeking with blood. Thus the battle with the suitors comes to an end, and Odysseus prepares himself to meet Penelope. So, you know, you can only imagine if you were one of the other 90-some guys, oh my God, you see the shield of a goddess pop in. You can't beat a goddess. The panic that has to ensue with all the rest of those men there, if it wasn't chaotic before, it would be then, because they'd all know, oh my God, this is so pointless. We're going to die. So It's a magical moment in a way for Odysseus that that a goddess kind of intervened on his behalf, but he never gave up. Never gave up. And that, to me, people, my God, if you don't think he's an epic hero, there is something amiss. Okay? Now, they told us at the very bottom of this, the room was reeking with blood. Imagine you've got 100 bodies in that room now. Every single one of them are dead. Blood's just a-flowing. And you got to remember where you're at. You're in the Mediterranean, and you're in Odysseus's house. Okay? So all these bodies are everywhere. You need to get all these bodies out, because they, again, don't show us everything that happens in each book, so they're cutting out a little bit of stuff. But in a nutshell, he's going to want all those bodies out. He's going to want that room all cleaned out. And now, who does Odysseus want to go see? Who is it now safe to reveal himself to? Remember, he was not able to tell her. Penelope. Hopefully, I'm hoping somebody has said it by now. So we're ready to go to book 23. That'll be the next recording. Let's see, how does Odysseus attempt to meet Penelope? Stay tuned.